Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you're having a good day. This isn't the usual lovely outside pastoral setting that I usually do my intros in. We are down here in the spider farm which we constructed in the last episode, and just to prove that this thing is actually pretty effective, I'm going to switch off the minecart to bring in the last of the resources. That's going to unload, and as you can see, we have gotten ourselves quite a lot of string, and you can hear the spiders are still dying in the background. By the way, if you ever happen to AFK next to one of these spider farms with the minecart going and everything, there are two things you want to turn down in your music and sound options. One is hostile creatures, because the sound of spiders constantly screeching and dying will get on your nerves. And the other one is friendly creatures, because apparently a minecart is a friendly creature. Speaking of all of this string, we actually have quite a lot of it here. This is the result of me staying here AFK at this farm for probably about an hour and a half. In fact, that was half of that was me editing the last episode, if you can believe that. So we got the first layer of this chest full of string when I was editing the previous episode where I built the spider farm in the first place. So I left Minecraft running in the background and it paid off in a big way. So what are we going to do with all this string, you ask? What is the point of having this spider farm in the first place? Well, there are a couple of things we can use it for. Number one, if you put all of this string together in a crafting table, it turns into wool, so we can easily get lots and lots of free wool that way. Imagine getting a triple spider spawner in a mine shaft and getting the amount of string from that. You wouldn't need a sheep farm ever again, because you could just make white wool as much as you wanted. There's a spider up there who's probably happy that he didn't spawn inside the spawner. The other thing we can do with all of this string is trade it with villagers. And let me hop over to our neighborhood village to see if there is a Fletcher or a fisherman around. So I don't recall if we for sure had a fisherman or a Fletcher around here, but we do have this shepherd, and so if I turn a bunch of this string into white wool, I've instantly got some stuff I can trade with him without having to worry too much about repetitively farming sheep over and over again. So that's already 5 emeralds we've got from him. His trades are going to hopefully refresh. Are you not going to refresh? Are you kidding me? Oh, okay, well maybe we should buy some of the more fancy colored wool. How about that? I'm going to buy one black wool just to unlock the trade again so I can trade with him a couple more times, because it will really benefit us to get a few more emeralds right now. There are a couple of things I want to do in the near future that will require a few emeralds to come through the pipeline. Looks like that's it for his wool trade again for the minute. Let's see if we can track down a cartographer. There we go. You need more paper. Okay, cool. Is there a cartographer we've already traded with? There's one guy in the corner there. Let's go and talk to him and see if I've already traded with one of them, because one of the things cartographers can sell you is maps to rare locations, and looks like I still need to trade with him. Okay, I should go and get some more paper then. Let's see if our paper trading friend is in. Hey buddy, you're a 35 paper trade. That's not the best, but it's still okay. Let's see what we can unlock from you. I've also crafted a couple of compasses in anticipation of what we might get here, because a compass will get you some emeralds, and I need to give at least one to this guy so we can unlock the next tier of his trades. Now let's see if we get any. Okay, 10 emeralds for an empty map, or we could just trade some more paper. I feel like that's probably preferable before we get into trading for stuff that I don't really want right now, even though mapping some stuff would be fun. Oh, looks like he has reset in the end. What do we have? Yes, fantastic. This is what we're after, friends, right here. So 26 emeralds for a Woodland Explorer map, but 12 for an Ocean Explorer map. I will take that trade. I will absolutely take that trade, because this map is something very special, and it's really cool that cartographers can trade you this, especially in a world where you don't want to mess around with mapping tools like the ones we've covered in previous videos, like a Midst or Mine Atlas or anything like that. What this will show us, if we hold it in our hands, is the direction to an ocean temple, which we're not going to explore today because that would take at least an entire episode, and we need to prepare a little bit before we do. We're going to have to raid one of them, and we're going to have to do a lot of work on one of them, because ocean temples are the only place, give or take a couple of things that have been added in the most recent update, where players can acquire a resource called Prismarine, which is just a building block. It's not necessarily like an essential resource for crafting or anything like that, but it is a really nice block to have. Fits in very well with the aquatic update, the most recent update we've had to the game, and I think it's going to be really cool to explore that. So I wanted to make sure that people knew that was on the horizon. We are getting an ocean map here, and it's not going to tell me exactly where that is in terms of its position in the world, but if you look on the thing, let me take the shield out of the inventory here, so you can see the marker on the bottom right is our player indicator. So we know that if we head northwest, we're going to run into that temple sooner or later, and it will have some of these islands around it. In fact, the fact that it's quite close to what looks like a decent-sized island is quite good, because it means we can set up a base there before we go and attempt to attack the ocean temple. But I'm not going to go there today. That's just something that we have laid in here for the future. Let's pop that in the ender chest for now so I can keep that safe, hop back through the portal, and today we are going to spend a little bit of time over at the spider farm. So our first task is going to be digging this... Whoa! No! Oh, goodness. I was not expecting you. Hello, sir. Get out of here. Did we take that guy out? Did he just get punched back? Okay, he got punched back. There we go. So our first task... oh my gosh. Our first task is going to be disabling the spider spawner and digging this whole place out, because I do want to decorate the place a little bit better. Even though we're not going to be seeing it all that much, I do want to make sure that we have ourselves a little bit of decoration around the place. It's going to be nice to come back and visit. So we're going to dig out a little bit more of this area just so we can replace the walls with some kind of material, like I said in the last episode, that is going to be distinguishable from the cave around it. So we know if we end up mining into this by mistake that we're mining into something that we don't want to touch. So I feel like something like black wool or maybe even black concrete might be a good start for that, so that it's very obviously this is the spider farm. It's also going to be a fun way of introducing concrete to the series, because I don't think we've touched on concrete yet. We haven't made it. It's quite a modern material, and I'm not too worried because the spider spawner is going to be buried in a cave down there. It's not exactly going to affect the above ground aesthetic of my medieval settlement. So building with a material that doesn't necessarily fit with medieval times isn't too much of a problem when we're building something that's largely going to be a technical thing. Now, to make concrete, what you need is gravel, sand, and some sort of dye. So let's see how much sand we have. We really don't have all that much right now, so I think a quick sand gathering mission might be a good idea, but let me at least find some dye. Yes, thankfully, with this river being nearby, I've actually acquired a decent amount of squid ink at this point in our adventure, and it's quite rare that you find a good source of squid ink these days, so it's actually quite useful to gather squid ink as you go. But there's the recipe. All you needed to do is place 4 gravel, 4 sand, and 1 dye in the crafting table in any orientation, and you get yourself black concrete powder. Now, concrete powder is the first form of concrete, and if you place it in water, if it comes into contact with water in any way, whether it's a full water source or a flowing piece of water, you'll be able to convert it into concrete, which is a completely separate material. Black concrete powder has the same kind of properties, or concrete powder in general, I should say, has the same kind of properties as gravel or sand. It is affected by gravity and will fall if you place it without a block underneath it. Concrete, on the other hand, can be placed anywhere and is a solid building material. Now, the best way I have found of converting concrete without creating some kind of machine that helps you gather it all up is to place concrete powder in your offhand and place a pickaxe in your main hand and hold down the left and right mouse buttons, standing looking at a block underneath the waterline like so, and standing on the block directly in front of it. Because what you can do that way is place it from your offhand, mine it with your main hand, and if you hold down both mouse buttons, it just does this over and over again. And while this will fling blocks around all over the place, you can see we have to gather them from the river and the shore here, it's actually a really great way of converting concrete. In fact, if you set up a section of flowing water, like a sort of inlet that will redirect the blocks back towards you, this becomes exponentially easier. It means you don't have to fling all of the concrete powder to either side of you anyway. So let's create a quick inlet over here like so. I'm digging down super far because my shovel is very efficient. There we go. So creating something like this, I've found, actually works pretty well, because then the water will redirect the concrete back towards you. And if we place a few blocks around the sides, that'll make sure that it doesn't hop up onto the banks over here. So the main thing we have to worry about at this point is whether or not it becomes night. But hold down both mouse buttons like this and you'll end up with the concrete just flowing back towards you whenever it has the opportunity. There we go. That's 1 stack and a little bit of extra concrete converted. I think we will leave this here for now, but we will probably change it up in future because this doesn't doesn't necessarily look particularly natural. So yeah, we'll leave that for the moment. Now, I haven't got enough concrete to complete that spider spawner area, but I should at least make a start on that now. So let's start off by swapping the entire floor that's going to be covered in water for black concrete, like so. You could even, actually considering we're going to cover this in water, you could even just place down the black concrete powder and have the water streams convert it all when you replace the water sources in here. But that's not going to be a huge issue to do, and it's nice to fill this entire thing with a material that is really obviously not going to be naturally generated by this cave. It also looks super smooth, so I quite like that as a design. I think we will include that in the rest of the decoration of this area. And I'm mainly taking inspiration from the spiders themselves when it comes to how to decorate this place, so it might be kind of fun to include some red in there as well, because the spiders have got red eyes, maybe a little bit of dark grey, considering the spider texture isn't completely black. It's going to give us a little bit of inspiration here, I think. But making a lot more concrete is going to mean acquiring a lot more sand, and there are a few places we could get sand locally, but only in small quantities. Places like rivers, streams, swamps, lakes, that kind of stuff will all have sand included in the makeup of the bottom of them there, but I kind of want to get my sand from somewhere I can acquire a large amount of it. And for that purpose, we're going to try and find ourselves a desert today. I'm going to grab a little bit of extra food because this is going to be quite a long trip, I imagine, so having a decent stack of food on me will help, and we've got some cooked fish here in the cupboard. Now, I don't want to take too much with me. If I want to fill up my inventory with sand, I want to bring an efficiency shovel, probably a shulker box to collect some more sand in, but deserts are absolutely full of sand, so we'll be able to gather quite a lot of it without doing too much harm to the natural environment. Aside from that, I might leave the concrete here. We'll pop it in this chest for now with the kind of processed and sandy materials. And if I remember correctly, which it's been a little while and I don't want to look it up just for the purposes of this episode, but I seem to remember when we looked up the biomes here to find ourselves a village on Mine Atlas, I think there was a desert biome sort of to the southwest of where we are here, which means traveling over the mountains, kind of past the swamp in that direction, but it will be worth exploring. There's a lot of cool stuff to find in a desert, potentially, so let's be on our way. And it feels like it's been a while since we did any serious exploring in the overworld and loaded in some new chunks, so I'm kind of excited to see what's out there. As usual, it will help to bring a little bit of wood with you, which I haven't done right now, but I've got a crafting table and I can make myself a boat from any of these if it turns out we need to go oversea for a little while. But there are a few biomes out there that we haven't even touched on in this series yet, and a desert is one of them. Deserts can be home to a number of structures, including villages and desert temples, so hopefully we'll be able to see one or both of those. And the desert villages look a little bit different from the regular plains and taiga biome villages that you might see out there, and they are another thing that is getting a complete redesign in the next update to Minecraft. But for more news about what's coming to the game, I recommend checking out Minecraft.net and going to the news section, where they quite frequently release changelogs of what's happening in the snapshots and little sneak peeks at new features. Alternatively, you could listen to my podcast, The Spawn Chunks, which is a show I do every Monday with my good friend Joel Duggan, where we talk about Minecraft and all of the new stuff that's coming to it, and usually have a discussion topic each week. Like in the last episode, we spoke to Fixit from the Realm of Vaston server. The episode before that, we ended up talking about the Ender Dragon quite a lot, because I just fought the Ender Dragon in this series, so it seemed like an appropriate discussion to have. And yeah, we talk about a lot of different stuff, and we usually have a quick rundown of the news for that weekend, what's happening in the snapshots, so it'll be worth checking that out. You can find that on the iTunes store or any other kind of places where podcasts are available. That's a bit of a shameless plug for this episode, I guess. Here's an interesting fact about the way Minecraft generates terrain. A lot of the time, it will try to group together biomes that have a similar temperature. So right now, we're in an extreme hills biome, or a mountains biome, I guess they're called now, and there are llamas up there on the hill. Yay, llamas! And for the most part, this is meant to be a cold biome. It's meant to be high up. There is snow generating on some of the upper slopes. The grass is this kind of cooler blue-green kind of color. And you'll find that biomes like this generally generate next to other cold biomes or biomes with a neutral temperature, like plains or forests, that kind of thing. Likewise, swamps. I think swamps are meant to be a slightly more lukewarm biome, but ultimately you'll find that deserts and jungles and the other hot biomes like savannas tend to generate close together because the game likes to pair them together. So if you find a savanna or a mesa or a jungle, chances are there might be a desert bordering on it somewhere. So that's a little tip when you're exploring your own worlds, if you're not using the same world seed as I am, so you're not looking for exactly the same locations that I am, it's usually a good idea to start out by trying to locate one of the warm biomes, and then the other ones will probably snap into place somewhere around the borders of your desert or your savanna or whatever you happen to find. It looks like we've actually stumbled on another village. This is fantastic. Oh, that's good stuff. Right, this is right next to the dark oak forest here. It's actually a plains village that's generated in this kind of clearing. It looks like it's more or less surrounded by, wow, that's a big lava fall. Okay, oh, oh dear, this guy's house seems to have been taken over by lake generation. This is a problem with Minecraft. This is a bug that happens where lakes will generate after villages and will often kind of override the spaces of village houses. So it looks like these poor chaps are a little bit waterlogged. Oh dear. Well, never mind. I wonder if there are going to be some useful villages in here. Let's see what we've got in this guy's house, because this guy is a white coat. He is another cartographer. Can you believe it? The amount of cartographers I've encountered in this series, and so few librarians. Oh well, not to worry. What's this guy out in the field doing? You're a Fletcher. Fantastic. This guy would be pretty good to trade string with, although that seems like a pretty high string trade, but that's not to worry. Is that another brown coat over there, or does he have an apron on? I think, yeah, he's a blacksmith or a toolsmith of some kind. Yes, there we go. Good stuff. Well, great to know that there is another village out here. Once again, this village doesn't look like it has a blacksmith house around. There are occasionally blacksmith houses that will generate in these villages that will have loot chests in that you can occasionally get some really nice resources from. So sometimes I take a look in those blacksmith chests just to see if there's anything good to have. But unfortunately, it looks like this village will not have too much to offer us. So we haven't got a good librarian or a farmer just yet. But no worries, we might come back there, and I'm not going to bother lighting this place up because chances are I will have run away and gotten out of render distance by the time the sun sets and any monsters come out to try and attack those guys. But just so we're clear, that village is there. Let me quickly take the coordinates, actually, before the sun fully sets. And it would have been a good idea to bring a bed with me as well. It's unfortunate that I didn't do that, but not to worry, we can soldier on. Coordinates here are -926, 806. Having taken a screenshot of that, I'll be able to get back here anytime I like, so that's not a problem. Let's make our way a little bit further to the southwest. Yet we're still going in the same direction. Very good, and let's see if we can stumble upon that desert I'm looking for. Is that what I think it is over there? Oh, excellent. It is. Good. Let's talk about donkeys, because I didn't cover these guys in the episode about horses and skeleton horses. Donkeys are a variant of horses that will spawn in plains biomes, and they are good as pack animals, but they're never going to be as fast or as jumpy, for want of a better word, as horses will be. Donkeys are pretty good, solid animals when it comes to taming horses, but they're not going to be as fast as your average horse. So yeah, you can tame one if you want to. They tame in exactly the same way as horses. You can also breed a horse and a donkey to get a mule, which is something that happens in real life, but mules are sterile and won't be able to provide you with any more donkey children, so something to bear in mind there. There are sheep here that I could potentially kill to make a bed, which I think I might do right now because I'm not really that interested in fighting monsters all night. And here is yet another plains village. We are over 1,000 blocks in both directions from our settlement now, so this is getting out into quite distant territory here, but I wonder if this village is going to have a blacksmith or maybe some fun people to trade with. Let's take a look. At least now we've got a bed, we can make sure that these people are safe. We can sleep through the night and not worry about their safety here. Let's take a look. Oh, and there's some horses hanging out in the village too. Very cool. Got a priest in there. Oh, another waterlogged cartographer. Of course it's a cartographer. Oh, goodness me. Right, we've got a couple of people chatting in here. In fact, who are you? You're a shepherd. Very good. This entire village actually seems to be kind of floating on pontoons, which is what happens if Minecraft generates a village and then generates one of these large lakes. A cartographer with a good paper trade. That's rare. We'll take a look at you. Why is every librarian in this world a cartographer? I swear, it's terrible. Getting no librarians whatsoever. All of the white-coated guys are cartographers. And yes, I know I talked a lot about map making in the early stages of this series, but this is a little ridiculous now. Oh my days. Right, we have one more librarian who I think was in here. Who are you? You are a librarian. And you've got a mending trade for 10 emeralds. Oh my gosh. Okay, right. This guy is getting preserved. We need to preserve this guy's health. He is going to be the most important villager in our lives. I'm so excited. Oh, yes. We found one. Okay, right. This is right. Oh, this guy is coming back with us. I wanted to find a desert and I haven't. I hear a zombie. I will kill that zombie with extreme prejudice if it comes anywhere near this librarian. I swear. This guy is now my #1 priority. Let's take a fence post from here and make sure that nobody can get to this librarian. Let's break the village well if we have to, because we need to preserve this guy like our life depends on it. Yes. Yes, we have a mending villager. Oh, superb. Right, well, there are a couple of things we can do at this point when it comes to preserving this guy. One thing would be to keep him here, set up a nether portal like we did with our other village, and use him to and use that nether portal to travel around and visit him. We have another librarian here with an impaling trade. Okay, looks like there are librarians in this place after all. Very good. I think either way, it's going to be in my best interests to set up a nether portal in this village so that we can either try and transport this librarian back to our base, or we can have a nether portal that we can visit this village regularly to visit that librarian in particular. So I'm going to go and find a source of obsidian. There might be a surface lake around here, or we can probably dig down and find some lava. All we need to do is convert some of that into obsidian, and we should be good to go. Okay, folks, so this is actually the day after I recorded all of the footage you've just seen, and let me tell you, I wanted to make this all into a single episode, but so much cool stuff happened after I left that village in search of some obsidian that I figured it would be better off splitting this episode kind of into 2 parts, splitting this whole recording session into 2 separate episodes, instead of cutting out a bunch of essential information that I thought we had included in the earlier part of this episode, or making this like an hour-long episode basically. So what I'm going to do is split this up, and we're going to end this episode here. I'm sorry this is a little bit weird. I don't normally figure out videos this way, but this is just the way it happens. So much cool stuff happens in the next episode that I'm sure you guys will understand why. But that's going to be it for this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.